This is Keeping It with KJ, podcast number 6, episode 6. And today I'm with Leon, who's going to give us a story from Rygol Electricals. Hope you enjoy. So we're going to be covering.
Everything.
Everything. Yeah, we're going to cover in bad installs, our experiences with bad installs. We're going to how to spot a competent installer. We're going to go over energy bills, how aircon, solar, and heating can combine together, and all can work together. And also, we'll have a few questions, fun questions for Leon at the end.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
We'll start off then with Leon's obviously been an electrician for over 20 years.
Yeah, 25 years now.
Yeah. So, tell me how it all begun.
How did it all begin?
Yeah.
Came from humble beginnings with this. In school, like in the last year of school, and we had a careers advisor come round, and sort of that's what really set the whole thing off, because this lady came round and she was going pupil by pupil, finding out what everybody wanted to do with their lives. And typically at that age, you don't have a clue, do you?
No.
I didn't have a clue. And
no, I didn't.
To be honest, I was that typical rebellious teenager at that point. I was interested in just going out, chatting to girls, and just chasing around, basically messing around,
and living life, I guess.
Yeah, going out with my mates and having that good life, really. God, it was the good life, wasn't it?
I must admit, envious of people who actually always had a plan. That they wanted to be this, they wanted to be that, and now I never knew. My mum used to ask, mum and dad used to say, "What do you want to do?" And like they used to, like, you're active, you're sporty. Do you want to do? Not really, no.
Yeah, I feel really envious of people that have always loved football and things like that. They've loved football from a young age. And I feel like having something like that really keeps you on the straight and narrow with,
to be focused. Well, I was never going to be good enough, so that was, I knew I was going to make I was going to run out of money quick if I were to rely on football for an income.
But this is it. So some people are just very channeled at just going one direction. They're like, right, okay, that's going to lead into something else. Eventually they might become in something to do with sports nutrition or this and that going on. Whereas for me, I was always just flitting around. I'd never had any sort of grinding of what I wanted to do. I was always just like a bit here, a bit there, a bit everywhere. I had real good potential to do really well. And when I really when I really knuckled down, I found that I really did do well. And I had one year in particular, I think it was like year 10, where year 9, I think it was. And I just really got down to it and just focused. And when I did, the teachers couldn't believe it. I got moved up in all the main classes like maths, English and science, and things were great. Got into year 10, and then it went down the other way. I don't know, I think I just had like slightly different circle of friends and things like that. Changed massively, and still had that potential, but I just wanted to just mess around.
I think it's a common story, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think you get focused, and then you just get that bit older and you get a bit more freedom.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's even worse now with the phones and stuff.
Oh, it must be horrific.
To like focus in, but
yeah, so seeing that there's so much more to view and see to take your mind elsewhere.
Yeah.
So at least we just had channels 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 back in the day.
God, yeah. I can remember Channel 5 getting launched.
Yeah.
Damn, showing his age.
Yeah, we're saying it old to the young viewers, but go back to it. So this careers advisor came in and she sort of said, "What do you want to do with your life, basically?" And I was like, I don't know. I've always loved animals, so I was like, I could be a vet, I could be a zookeeper, and then I thought, let's throw something. And she said, what about something completely different? So I was like, let's throw something in the mix then. I said, well, electrician, because I thought I know nothing about electrics. Building, you can see builders putting blocks in, and carpenters, you can see them making door frames and things like that. Whereas electrics, it seems like one of those things where you don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. It seems very like, what is this electrical magic going on? Not to discredit any other trades, by the way. That sounds awful talking about builders and carpenters like that, but I don't mean it that way. What I mean is that with electrics, there's just like, how does the power get from the power station to your home? And
you're intrigued.
What's going on? Yeah, and there's a lot going on with building and carpentry and all these other things as well. But there's more to view. It's a wonderful trade, and you can view it. Doesn't mean you know everything just by viewing it, but it's like, okay, you can see how that can be that and this can be this. With the electrics, it was like this voodoo magic almost. So I thought, I'd like to sort of train in something that I know nothing about. So I went into the electrical scene and did a 4-year apprenticeship. I kind of got dragged up through that apprenticeship, to be honest, because I still carried on those traits that I had from being young. of just messing around. So I was always typically late. I was like a slow learner. I was a thorough learner, but I was very slow. And it took me a while to understand how important things were in terms of like, you know, if you don't make this, if you don't get through this apprenticeship, you've just wasted 4 or 5 years of your life, and then you're going to come out the other end of it
with nothing.
Potentially with nothing. And then potentially if I did want to carry it on, I'd have to then start over again with, you know, the qualifications and all the learnings and stuff like that. So so from that point of view, I just thought, just knuckle down and get this done. And it was a tough one, and like I say, hats off to the people that trained me, because their methods weren't their conventional methods. It wasn't like your polished kind of apprenticeship. They were very much like, you be in line, boy. They're very much kind of like, you step out of line and you're going to know it, sort of thing. And it was pretty harsh. And at the time, I used to think that they were being very harsh on me. It was unfair, that typical kind of young gun sort of thing.
You know, I've got a story from, like, obviously when we, like, generation we bought in, it was a bit rougher than it is now. But you know, my dad, when they used to pick him up for his apprenticeship, they used to drive down the road, like a Mansfield Road, which is in, obviously, Mansfield. And if he weren't on the other side of the road when they got there, when they came back, they'd just drive straight past him. And he has to walk to that spot every morning. And if he wasn't there when they was driving down the road, to about 10 minutes before he needed to actually be there, they'd just drive straight past him and with his tools. And then so obviously he just had to walk home. Yeah, that's how ruthless it used to be. Well, that was, we're talking like 4 years ago there, but plus years. But like I say, apprenticeship, to make you disciplined, they was quite harsh back in the day, weren't they? Definitely. Now I don't know why we do that modern day time. It's very difficult. Yeah,
it's very difficult. Yeah, because there's so many legalities to everything nowadays. Isn't there? Like, everyone's afraid to do anything now because because of mental health issues and this and that. And I completely believe in mental health issues and things like that. But I do feel like it can be abused by, those rules are abused by people because they know they can get away with things and lean on that to sort of get around things. So it was certainly not like that back in the day. It was kind of like you were
learn to be disciplined or you go home, right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it took me a long time to sort of get into that sort of. It's all part of growing up, though, isn't it? It's all relative. Yeah. Got older, started to get responsibilities. Came out the apprenticeship, and I was I've always been a little bit of a rebellious type and all the rest of it. But as I've gotten older, I realised that it was just raw skills and things that I could use later in life to sort of help me get by. But you can easily misdiagnose that for just being naughty and mischievous and no good to society. And actual fact is like, no, actually, it's just a hard time when you're young, and as long as you come out of it, then it was worth it.
You're finding your way, aren't you? You're finding your way through life, aren't you? Really? Yeah. That sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I remember there are times when people said like, "Oh, you're never gonna do anything or be anything because of how you are," and it's actually just I'm just on a path.
I'm going through a moment. Yeah.
Going through quite a long moment, but I'm going through it. So I came out the apprenticeship, and then I started working for a company, and I spent a few years there, had a great time, and then moved on to another company because that one wasn't doing so well financially. I moved on to another one, spent another few years there, and then what happened then? It was a case of it was all running its course, basically. I was getting a bit fed up with where I was, and I just decided, through no fault of the company, it was just just the situation of being employed and a few issues along the way, which save that for another podcast. But what I ended up then doing was thinking, right, okay, let's go self-employed. So that's when I went into that self-employed realm, that things really started to change. I had a couple of friends that were already self-employed, had their own businesses in the trade. That really helped. One of my friends, Steve, he basically found out on the day that when I'd sort of finished up and gone self-employed, I realised that I was in a whole new ball game here. So I sent him a message just to say like, "Oh, this is what I'm doing now, blah blah blah." He came straight around my house and said, "Mate, let's get you set up on the HMRC's website. Let's get this in place, get that in place. Right, have you got an accountant? Blah blah blah." And he's really the one that sort of got me started on my path to self-employment. Started off as a sole trader. And,
it's good to have that guidance.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't going into it like the first person in my mind ever to do it. It was like I already had some friends in the game, so that really
helps, don't it?
Yeah, massively. And so I then was sole trading for a couple of years, took on an apprentice, had the apprentice for a few years, had some fun with that, good and bad times.
Yeah,
that could be a rocky old road.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very difficult. I find that, well, with this particular apprentice, he started off as like it always reminds me of like the film Gremlins. Like,
right. Okay.
you know, like Gremlins, where they weren't always Gremlins. They start off as like Magwai.
Yeah.
Start with that little fluffy Magwai, like, oh, lovely little thing. Come on, let's, you know.
Yeah, and turn into a gremlin.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Give enough time, and I know it's a little bit of a different way, but you get a Magwai wet and they turn into a gremlin. Whereas this is kind of like you give the apprentice enough time and they turn into that gremlin. You know, can do. No discredit to apprentices. I was one. We've all been.
Yeah.
But it was like that can happen.
My wife
my
wife said a good thing to me about a year or so ago, and she says when people come to work for you, the first 3 months is obviously they'll be probably potentially not themselves what you want them to be, and then you don't see the true selves till after like 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's when they start. Yeah, that's when the day-to-day habits start to creep in to their work and things like that. So that's like they turn into the gremlin, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the thing. Things happen along that journey. Like for example, my apprentice, the first year or so, he was like really good, really keen. Went into the second year, still fairly keen, and then it's like he discovered girls he was on that football track, you know, going down that route of being really focused into his football. Did always training, always up at the crack of dawn to go there and then come to work and things like that. And then, as a bit of time went by, started discovering these girls
and beer,
got into cars and beer, and everything else, going to clubs and stuff like that. And then the gremlin started kicking in, and it all kind of spiraled a bit. You know, that's his own path. That's absolutely fine. But it's just how it went, and unfortunately, it didn't work out in that scenario. But no, it was great having him when I had him. But that's what I mean by that whole path of apprenticeships can be rocky. You know, some people get it lucky where their apprentice is a bit of a plain sailor through. Yeah. Other people, But that's him taking his path, just like I had to take my path.
Absolutely.
So we ended up parting ways in the end, and then I took on a couple of other guys and had those guys for a couple of years, and so I had like 3 vans on the road, including mine, going really well. And then up until like last year, lost both these guys. I thought I had strength in numbers. I thought, right, if I've got my van on the road and I've got 2 others, I thought if one guy decides to leave, then it's okay. I'm 1 van down, but I can find another guy to get in that van, and then away we, carries on like that. But that's not actually what happened. What actually happened was they ended up rubbing off on each other, and they ended up leaving together. So through no fault of their own, they, again, respectfully, they got to do their own path, and it was what it was. But
left you in a situation to manage.
Like they got their own lives, they got their mortgages to pay, they got their families and stuff like that. One of them decided he didn't want to be an electrician anymore. So I thought fair enough. So it didn't really pull on my heartstrings. So I thought, there's nothing we could have done in that scenario. And the other one wanted to go self-employed. So,
is it like, obviously, I'm in the situation now where we've got staff. Do you feel the pressure of, obviously, it's not just them you've got to find work, it's the families you're looking after as well? Yeah, you're responsible for everything, aren't you?
Yeah.
I have to try and switch myself off from that sometimes, because I do feel like under pressure. Yeah. Like, we've got a member of staff who's got two young girls, like extremely young girls, and you feel you're responsible, aren't you? You're responsible for everybody who works for you.
Oh, massively.
And it's not just like the people who work for you; it's their families as well. The surrounding networks. So you take a lot on as a business owner.
Hugely, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of like mental strain on you for that.
100%.
I had a guy fairly recently. I gave him a go because he was really keen to come on for us, and he came on. Unfortunately, he wasn't making the grade. I could see there were some basics that were sort of missing. He overall had a good electrical knowledge, but there's just some simple things that I'm like, well, it really opened up my eyes to sort of thinking, not only is this person representing my company as an employee, he's also actually on site as like the manager. This is the thing, when you send a guy to someone's house, he's not just a member of staff going out there. He's like, he becomes that guy that designs things, because as things happen and he's got to plan routes and stuff, he's actually the designer, he's the manager, project managing the situation. He's there because you can't be there all the time. And then he's there as like the customer relations, dealing with the customers, so he's got to be good with the customers.
So many skills, isn't there?
So many skills, yeah. And
so many skills.
It makes it very hard to find staff, because they can't just be good electricians if they've got no people skills, and they can't have good people skills without being a good electrician with all the various aspects. So it makes it very difficult to
find a rounded
person. And you find that rounded guy generally ends up being so rounded that he ends up going off and doing his own thing anyway. So it becomes,
it's like a cycle almost, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. So I had this one particular guy, and unfortunately he wasn't really making the grade with some basics, and I ended up having to let him go. But it was very emotional for me, because he was having some health issues, like with his heart particularly, and all that sort of stuff. And it was
hard, isn't it?
Even to the point of like, when I was having to let him go, some of these conversations that I had, he was actually in a hospital bed having his blood changed whilst I'm talking to him, and it was awful.
It is.
You could think to yourself, Leon, we could have waited until he got out of hospital. But it was one of those ones, I didn't know how long he was going to be in hospital, and I didn't want to I knew that I had to let him go, and I couldn't wait, because I thought, the longer this goes on for, potentially I'm stopping him from sorting himself out to do something else. The quicker I let him know, the quicker we can get a new plan into place. So I didn't want to
doing him a favour in a fashion as well, aren't you, if you look at it that way?
Exactly. If he'd been in hospital for say 3 weeks, he was in there for a week in the end, but if he'd stayed in there for 3 weeks and at the end I said, oh sorry, there's no job for you now, then that would have been horrendous, because he's just wasted the last few weeks. We could have sorted something out, or
planning,
or whatever. So it was one of those where I was like, do I tell him? Could this be extra stress on him, which could potentially be really bad
for his health? Being
in that situation, or but at the same time I want him to sort himself out as well. So
it's one of those, if you're a business owner, you have to like be a human being, but you've also got to make them decisions. So obviously you've got the facts, what actually goes, so you actually carry on existing as a company as well. So you've got to get that balance. It's really hard to like the management side of things, just to be a decent human being, as well as well as making the proper decisions, what are obviously for the good of the company. So it's a real tough line, isn't it? A tough balance.
It's really tough, because with all the people,
it don't get any easier. I believe either.
No, I'm not noticing it getting easier.
Like all my I like to try and make my company, it's like a second family almost. You care about everything what they doing, so you want them to care about the company as well. It's the people who have got companies who have got that right. I think that will show in their work. You've got happy engineers or happy staff, and then obviously their work they're doing, when they're happy, they work better. And
definitely.
They're more efficient, and they'll do them little bits and bobs what they needed, and it's finding a balance, which is tough.
Really
it takes
tough.
time as well, don't it?
It's more than just a job you're providing them. You're providing them with like relationship bonding with you in your family to them to their family.
And building them up as well as yourself, aren't you?
Definitely. Because you're bringing them into your company. You're teaching them your company ethics and the way that you do things as a company, but also how you are morally set up as a business as well. To it's important to look after your customers and things like that. You're not just looking out for the company. You got to look after the customers as well, and all that sort of stuff goes into it. And it's like building relationships with them. You want to be on top of. Like, I always make sure I'm on top of knowing what my guys have been up to on the weekend. Obviously, without prying or anything like that. But it's just nice to have that relationship where you can talk to them. Christmas time, nice to have that Christmas get together. And all that sort of thing. We're thinking about sort of introducing like a bit of a summer party as well, where why wait an entire year before we do it? Why not cut it up into like 6 months?
We try and do something every quarter, which was easier. Which was easier when we was a smaller company. Well, now we've got a few more staff. It's more challenging, because obviously you've got to keep on. We can't. Everyone just have a day off. So we last summer we went go-karting for a day and then went out for lunch.
Oh, that's the ultimate.
Great. And then at Christmas we went to Southall Races.
Nice.
So we had two really good days there, And this year we went to the installer show in the summer.
Yeah.
So we thought we could like incorporate like work into
That's
that
nice.
one a bit.
Yeah.
So just little things like that. And we still pay the staff, have the day off. It's just something like, it's just a breath of fresh air from, sometimes a change is as good as a rest, isn't it? So
Definitely.
they've had a day off the
stealing
tools.
a couple of these ideas.
Yeah, do it.
Because I've been thinking about the go-karting for a while.
Yeah.
I love go-karting.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah.
Good fun. Everyone lets the air down and they get a chat, and then they have
it's
something to
exhilarating.
eat. Yeah.
A little bit competition going on.
Yeah.
Nothing too serious.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, and the installer show, that's a good shout as well, because it's like work related, but not, so you've all got something in common with it, but it's not too formal or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple of beers afterwards, maybe.
We get the free beers there.
Of course you do, yeah.
Which I didn't realise, I drove. So no beers for me.
Uber next time.
Uber next time, yeah.
Yeah. So, going on with we're still into, I'm aware we're still into my story. This is quite a long story going on, but
That's all right.
I hope everyone's enjoying it. So going on from that, I suppose that takes me to the last couple of years then, because I lost both my guys last year. I was on my own for a little bit, and I was just starting in the solar sector as well. So I had, solar's been doing well, but it's just been sort of trickling along.
Yeah.
I'm evolving it with steady growth, because like I said earlier, I'm quite a slow learner. So I'm very thorough, but I'm very slow in my ways. And I think it's important to know who you are when you're doing anything in business. What works for some people, like, smash loads of leads and get loads of jobs coming in, might work really well for some people, but for me, it's not for me. And I think I did try a little bit of that, and I realized very quickly that this wasn't going to work. So I slowed it, kept it nice and steady, and it's been working quite nicely, getting those solar jobs coming in. And I got like my solar team set up specifically for the solar. So I've got roofers, architects, like structural engineer, got my scaffolders, and separate electricians as well that are specifically trained in solar. So I've got like 2 sections to the business. It's all under one hat, but it's like I've got the electrical side where I've got my employees, and I've got the solar side where I've got my subcontracting team. But it's doing good. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Got a couple of guys on the electrical, and I've got my solar bit, and going well.
Really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You do you've got a bit of social media following on there as well, haven't you now?
Yeah, a bit of social media. Shall I check actually? I've got a YouTube channel, and today's a really good day, guys, because I am just on the brink of coming up to 10,000 subscribers. Check us out online. Am I allowed to say this?
Of course you can, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Kev. Thought I'd better check there. But Rygol, look up Rygol Electrical Services on YouTube. We're on there. We're just about to hit 10,000 subscribers now. This month we've done 1,500 new subscribers. The channel has suddenly blown up. It's doing really well. I've suddenly committed to it, is basically what's happened now with the YouTube. I'm dedicated to putting out regular content and decent content with some good storytelling in it, if I don't mind saying so myself. And it's doing really good. So check it out, guys. But I'll just have a look a minute. Let's have a look. Where are we at? 9,997. Ooh! 9,999 subscribers. So we're one away. Should have bought the champagne.
Yeah. And while you're at it, just have a look at Keeping Up with KJ on YouTube, and like, subscribe, and share as well.
Absolutely. We're going to have to collaborate, Kev.
I'd like to be having as many followers as you. So obviously you started a bit before me, but you're definitely smashing it, aren't you? So well done on that.
Yeah. Well, what we could do is we could collaborate, and like you could come onto one of my jobs, and then we could link it to like your YouTube channel, and vice versa. Have some fun with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we obviously started the channel to wanted to give people information and educate people. We also, why we called it Keeping It with KJ, we wanted to let people see what the day in the life of KJ is actually like. So running the company, but that actually turned into like realised how difficult that was. So so it's just
which element of it was the most difficult part for you? Was it
it's just being able to actually, because their life is so full throttle. Actually, I was supposed to be filming that. I completely forgot. And it's just not getting around to the filming side of things, or when you're filming, it just like
difficult,
it is difficult. So we're looking to get a videographer. We've had discussions with somebody I met recently. She's going to potentially come and follow us around a few days and get the actual background content out there.
That'd be good.
It would be good fun. So
I think that's something.
Watch this space.
Yeah, I think that's really good, because it's that side of life that nobody sees of running a business and like the mayhem that actually goes on behind it.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's down to the family aspect or whether it's down to just running the business.
Yeah.
And that struggle that you have between having a family, I've particularly noticed it since I've had kids. Like, I knew I had a whole storm coming my way.
Yeah.
A wonderful storm, but nevertheless still a storm coming my way. And because I found that when I just had the electrical business, it was always tasking and tricky, but I had all the time under the sun to give to it. And it was a case of like Caroline, my wife, who stood behind camera right now watching this, she's always been very supportive and always helps me with everything, and she understands that I do what I have to do. I'm not a greedy person, I'm not overindulgent or anything like that. It's just the case that I'm just trying to run a business, I'm trying to run it to the best that I can.
Yeah.
And that does involve me having to work around the clock. Whether it's
a way of life, isn't it?
Yeah,
and you have to buy into that way of life. My wife's the same. She had to buy into to the point where she actually just works full time for me now. So
yeah, same with Caroline. She does exactly the same.
Yeah,
as well as everything else, isn't it?
It's a
She's
lifestyle.
trying to be a mother. You got to be a father around all of this as well. But it's like your day doesn't stop at like 5 p.m. It just rolls on.
Like 24/7, isn't it? Don't stop.
It really is. Yeah. And you might even get emails that you notice at 10 o'clock at night. Like, I need to sort that. This is really important because this will knacker up first thing in the morning if I don't just sort this out now. Yeah. Well, that sort of stuff.
You feel guilty for that one customer who called and got an answer phone message from, they didn't get through to us and they've had to wait to get back, and there may be potentially stressful situation.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, my wife's recently had an operation. It's the summer holidays, so the kids are off. So Charlotte's been in hospital. I've got all 3 kids at home, so I'm doing her job, my job, looking after the 3 kids and the dogs and the business all in one.
Yeah.
So to the point where, like, now she's home, but she still can't really do anything. I make 15 meals a day.
Wow. Yeah, when you look at it like that,
so I'm
that's
full-time chef as well now.
Yeah, for a lot of blokes, 1 meal a day is a lot.
Yeah, so
looking after ourselves is a lot. So doing all that, that's hard.
And that really like picks it home. I know the other day I got up at 5:30 in the morning to sort of feed the dogs, and then got in to do a bit of work before people got up, and the kids got up, made all the breakfast, and then Charlotte's breakfast, and then it was lunch. It's nice and sunny. They wanted to go in the paddling pool on the outside, but obviously it's quite a big one, so they can't be, we've got to be there, you've got to see them, so I've got to try and do that, and then I've got calls coming in from work, sorting this out, sorting that out. Oh God, yeah, it's just chaos. And I ended up going to bed about, I think, 11:45. I was mopping floors at 11:45. Yeah. And everyone's back asleep, and it's just that was just a reality of a day in the life of KJ, really. When not saying it's like that all the time, but that's how it can actually be. Yeah, which you've experienced as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. I bet that mopping the floors at 11:45 is actually your bit of like downtime.
It was quiet. It was not. Yeah, I was quite happy to do it. Piece of quiet. Just the dogs like to keep company. Yeah. But it's just a. Yeah, because we've got 4 beagles as well, which aren't the most relaxed of beagles. It's a busy household, so there's a lot going off.
Yeah, and you've got to work on many different levels. It's what I find. I find it really hard to share my time equally or in the right proportion throughout the day. I find myself
the balance is hard.
I go all in on like if I know that I've got to, say for example, I've got my latest YouTube video coming up. Right, okay, let's make sure there's some important parts that we need to make sure we get filmed. I'll go all in on focusing on making sure that everything's put together for that video. But I find, the evening's just gone. Yeah. Completely gone. I haven't sorted out the emails. I haven't sorted out the invoice I needed to send out and, invoices and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, it becomes very heavy in one aspect of it, but the rest of it ends up, and I think to myself, okay, tomorrow I'll do this, but then something will come up in the way. And it all just becomes this like, trying to spin the plates, but you're spinning certain plates more than others. Yeah. It feels like.
I had one last week, like, I promised this customer I sent her an aircon quote that afternoon, and that much happened in that afternoon. It was like 8, 9 o'clock, and I was getting stressed out that I'd not sent this guy. He probably wasn't bothered that I'd not sent it. I think he even said to me, I'm not in any rush for it. But because I told him I'd do it that afternoon, I put myself under pressure, and I felt guilty, and then I was under stress. Like, I need to just send this quote. Just give me 2 minutes, please. Every time I went to sit down to do it, something else had happened. So it's just, you can put yourself under pressure in different ways, and
massively. And in reality of it, it's kind of like, how important is it? Is my life going to crash and burn if this doesn't happen? No, it's not. However,
it's in your own head, isn't it?
It is in your own head. Yeah. Because you don't want to be letting people down, and you want to keep the flow going and all the rest of it. But yeah, here's the real kicker for me is the children part, because all of that mayhem going on, it's, you know, with running the business, it's a lot. It's very harsh. But before I had children, I found that I had all the time under the sun. If I needed to dedicate an entire Saturday and entire Sunday, it didn't matter if I was crawling around in loft spaces or under people's floorboards, or whether I was just doing the admin or whatever. It didn't matter. I had all the time around the clock to do it. As soon as I had children, that whole world kind of changed, and I knew it was coming. I just didn't quite know how it was coming in. And what a difference
it does. It's a different lifestyle, isn't it? A completely different lifestyle. I'm totally different to what were like before I had children. You know, on the way home from work, I had no issues with thinking, I'll go and sink a couple of pints in the pub on the way home. Just like life of Riley saw it, really, when you think about it. You know, and life changes a lot, don't it?
It does.
What becomes important is like one time you used to be like racing on to go and see lads on a Friday night. Now you're racing on to see your kids instead, aren't you? Get them to football practice or something like that. So
exactly, yeah.
And see the wife, etc. So, you know, it's totally changes your life, don't it?
Massively, yeah. And it's like, for me, I'm really keen, because I know that work is always going to be there. Some of these opportunities won't always be there, but I know that work's always going to be there. Whereas my children growing up, that's going to happen quite quickly. And I'm starting to notice it now. My girls I've got 2 girls, they're 5 and 7, and it's just really racing by. And I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure I have those moments with them. And
memories,
it's really tough, because sometimes I find myself, you know, spending time with them obviously I'm at work all day, and then I come home and then I'll have tea. Always make sure we have a sit down meal at the dining table without fail. We don't have any screens or anything like that. We make sure we get that quality time.
Nice.
Because it might be just about the only time I have with them that evening. So it's important that 1 hour, half an hour to an hour is definitely dedicated to us talking as a family and all the rest of it.
Oh, good.
To be fair, I spend a lot of it saying, Xenia, lean over your plate. Kira, chew your mouth closed and all that sort of stuff. I spend a lot of the time doing that. But in amongst all that, we're having a lot of nice family conversations, just laughing and talking and stuff.
They'll remember really that. The kids will remember that when you get older. When they get older, they'll remember that. I remember my mum and dad being the same with us. You do remember. It does like sort of sit in there. It's like principles, I guess, isn't it? Like you're laying the life of law down for the next generation, aren't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, and so I make sure I have these moments with them, but I do find that it's very hard to switch off from the work.
Oh God,
really difficult. I find myself completely unintentionally as well. It's not like I want to be thinking about work when I'm sort of doing I find myself reading my girls. We do like milk and a book before bed, and I find myself reading the book, but then I'm noticing I'm reading the words out to them, so it all makes complete sense when I'm saying it. But actually in my head, I'm actually thinking about something to do with a job or something like that. And then all of a sudden I realise that I'm doing it. And I'm like, nope, quick, back to the book, focus in, because there's some nice little moments I can share with them here. But I find myself sort of fading away and thinking about work. And I've got to keep telling myself,
it's
focus
difficult,
back in on it. Yeah,
it is difficult. I get that, You like you want to like read them like a story.
Yeah,
like,
and I want to remember. I want to, when I get grey and old, I'm starting to get grey now, but when I get greyer and older, I want to be looking back at these days when they've grown up and they've moved out, and I want to still remember that. You know, I don't want it to just be see the old photo of it. I actually want to remember it. So it's like, it's
reading
really,
them a book, snuggling in, and
because I know they'll get to a point where they want to go out with their friends, and then eventually when they do move out, it's all coming in it.
I've got a friend who's got kids who are slightly older, and he did say that to me, make sure you get that moment, because they will not be long till they'll be telling you to clear off when you go and knocking on the bedroom door. So make the most of it while you can, sort of thing. So it's definitely about getting that life balance, and life work balance, especially if you've got young children.
100%. Yeah, I went into panic mode actually when I found out I was having my first child. I sort of it was one of those where I was like completely unprepared. It came out of the blue. Nice surprise, but nevertheless still a surprise. I ended up I went on like a rampage. Every job I went to, this is one of the nice things about our job, is that we get to see people's home lives and see how people are living.
Reality.
Reality. You're there when people have got their kids, getting them ready for school in the morning and all that sort of stuff. You're in there doing that boiler or changing that consumer unit or whatever it might be, depending on your trade. and yeah, you're there for all of it. Sometimes you're there for the great times when it's like actually something really nice has happened in that family environment, and then sometimes it's not so great when the parents are arguing or something. You're like, ooh, I'll just close this door and pretend I can't hear anything going on here. But you're there viewing all of this, and so I like it sometimes when I see some people's family lives. I think, God, this is really nice, you know. So I always speak to a mixture of dads whenever I'm on site. So I'll speak to a mixture of dads, meaning like if they're a single parent doing it on their own, I'll speak to them. Or if they're like an older dad, their kids have grown up, I'll speak to them. Or if they're right in the midst of it with like your situation with loads of animals, loads of children, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And speaking to them like, how are you coping and finding it? My biggest and most favourite question that I always like to ask to every dad is, particularly for like the older dads, is what is it that you would have changed, like, or borderline regret? And the answer always comes back the same, I find. Every single time they always say, I wish I spent more time with my kids.
I know you're going to say that, yeah.
Yeah, and that to me, it just hits me straight in the chest. I'm like, yeah.
And you got the opportunity now to spend more time.
Yeah.
Don't you? You know,
I'm there.
This is where you built your company to a point where you could sort of make the choices of how much time you make spend at home.
Yeah.
So even though your head's never going to be out of the business, you've got a few more tools to be able to spend a bit more time away and have them holidays and days off, and go to the sports days and things like that. They all count, don't they? You know,
massively.
So yeah, they all count when you think back to your own childhood and stuff like that. I was really fortunate. You know, my mum and dad were both around. Dad worked really hard, and when I got older, I realised my dad working so hard, like, it imprinted into me. I got them characteristics myself. You know, without him even saying it, just by his doing. So you're doing the same now. Your girls will be, taking inspiration from you, just from your daily life. It's really important to get it right.
100%, yeah. It really is, yeah. It's funny, actually, because I notice I do some sort of like a gym training, only sort of on a light level, but I just always make sure I keep on top of general fitness health, because that's also really important for running a business as well, isn't it? Keeping, because that helps with the endorphins, with your mentality, and, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I just know it's a good thing to do. Yeah. So I do all that in the garden. I notice that the girls, they pick up on that, and next thing you know, they're doing squats in the garden, they're doing star jumps and all sorts of stuff just on their own behalf. And like you said, they do notice these things.
Your traits, I know. I read an article, only a short article, that something had been found in more elderly people. We know about exercise being so important, but also socialising. Socialising is just as important as exercise, because it keeps the brain ticking over.
Yeah, so, it's true, isn't it? And that's down to that thing, all work and no play makes whoever very dull. I don't know what the saying is. Yeah. I started something great there, and
we'll find it.
Yeah, we'll find it. You know what I mean, guys. You know what I mean. But yeah, it's that thing, isn't it? You spend all your time working, and it's like, I have noticed in myself that if I work too hard, I do notice I find it very hard to even put a smile. I renovated a house a few years ago, which is kind of like on the sideline to like the electrical. I basically did up a house on the side of running the electrical business, and my goodness, it was one of the most toughest things I think I've ever done, because I'm trying to renovate this property, and I gave it everything. Every day I was working till basically midnight. Every day I worked Saturdays, I worked Sundays. I was doing like 12, 14, 16-hour days. It was bonkers, really. And but I got it done in like 3 to 4 months. But I'll never forget it. I was working at this place, and the caretaker was there, and he's like, "Leon, you always used to smile." And he's like, "I haven't seen you smile in a while." And it's like, yeah.
Thanks for making it out. Making me aware on it. Sometimes you don't notice you're getting that way, do you, either?
No, you don't.
The installers in winter, I know I used to be like it. You're installing that much, you just that hell bent on getting the next job done that you forget that there's a life going on around you, don't you?
Definitely, yeah. And the work is important. It is important. But there's kind of like a line of how important it is.
Yeah, comes down to balance again, don't it?
Yeah.
So, but like I say, we've both been in trade for a long time, so it brings us on to his next subject, which is bad installations. Obviously, I'm sure you've done one, and I know I've done one in the past, like through the years when you're first starting out and you've got to find your way. Have you got any ones what you'd like to share with us?
Well, like bad installation, I've installed badly?
Maybe one what you might have thought, oh, I've not done a great job. So, for example, I'll start off when I was a young apprentice, me and one of my best mates was an apprentice as well, and we went to another friend who said, "Oh, you're plumbers, aren't you now? Can you just come and change this tank in the loft? It's the ball valve's not quite working." So we went into this loft. It was dead tight. I'm not quite sure how to sort it out. So I've got his name's Tommy. So I was about to say it. So Tommy's gone up. He's had a look. Nah, not sure. So luckily, obviously, our apprentice to my dad. So like, rung my dad. Dad, can you sort this out? We've already got it off. Thing. So yeah, we just basically we got in there. My mate's got us in there as a favour for him. It's probably a favour to us as well for the experience. And got in there. Both of us couldn't do it. Done half a job and just left him with nothing to be. So he basically he got no hot water. He got no water being able to go into the tank because we'd isolated it and then just left it, and we had to just wait for my dad to go. So yeah, just like little things like that can be quite funny. But yeah.
I have got one. I hadn't gone self-employed yet. It was the last company that I worked for, and this isn't the reason why I'm not working there anymore, by the way. But basically, what happened was, we're on the job, and we were sort of. It wasn't a rewire, but we were adding quite a lot of sockets to a particular room and reconfiguring some lighting and things like that. It's a really nice house on the outskirts of Bristol. And basically, I'm the type of person that I will always do the absolute best I can with whatever situation I've got in terms of when it comes to installing. I will go out of my way to make sure that the cables aren't on show, things like that. I want everything to be, as if you could barely tell the electrician's been, but magically the sockets and the lights have appeared. So on this one particular installation, I needed to drill through the ceiling and go up on an angle to pick up that it had a very oddly shaped roof, and the roof had many different angles. It wasn't one of those typical Apex types. It was like the roof had lots of different heights, and it was all joining from different shapes and angles. It was a complex, yeah, exactly. And I decided, right, okay, I'm going to drill up through the ceiling, and if I get the angle right, I can just come up where the directly above me was a flat roof, but if I get the angle right, I'll come out straight into the main loft space over here. That's what I was aiming for. So this long wood bit, and I was drilling up through, and I kept going upstairs to check. I was measuring, doing everything, being really cautious as I could, and I knew there was a risk that it could go. I might not make it into this loft roof. I might go straight through the actual flat roof, and that's exactly what happened. I kept drilling. I got this. It's been going for a long time now. I'm drilling in. It's going in really deep into it. I'm thinking any minute now it's going to pop through into that loft. And then all of a sudden, loads of water. The water started streaming in like it was a tap, like someone had just turned the tap on. And it came down. And it came down with force, because what I didn't realise is that they actually had a problem with their flat roof, and it was holding probably about 6 inches of water, and it was a massive flat roof, huge flat roof. It was
created a waterfall then.
Yeah, basically, it was probably as big as this room, this flat roof. So it had like 6 inches across the whole lot, and it just came down. And I've never forgot that, because it was basically this really nice room that they had with like fancy bookshelf with all these like really old looking books, historical books and everything. Water going everywhere, and I'm trying to like plug the hole with my thumb, trying to stop the water coming in. It's all just showering down on me, and the guy I was working with was like, call the boss, call Justin. So Justin's come in, and basically, luckily Justin is a guy of many skills, and he managed to he came in with like a wet vac, and he managed to wet vac what was remaining up there. Bearing in mind most of it was now in the house. Soaked all the carpets, it soaked everything basically, and he managed to sort of put some the material over the top of it, did his thing with his heat guns and things like that, and managed to patch it in. And I didn't really know what happened after that, but all I know is that
another lesson learned,
a massive lesson learned. When there's a risk, make sure it's not just a calculated. When it's something like that, I've kind of learned now to just go no, rather than be like, I think I can do this. I've got to that point where now I'm like,
it all comes to the experience and competence, don't it? So like when it comes to like bigger installs, like obviously we've had a couple of experiences ourselves when you're starting out. The biggest issue we'll get with the boilers is that you'll come across maybe in the summer, you'll come and survey a job, and the heating's not on, and you'll ask the question, does all your heating work fine? Oh yeah, it works fine. Or if the boiler's broken and you can't test that everything works, and then once you've installed that boiler, you then have like maybe half the system what don't work. It's, oh, well, it worked before. It's always that grey area, which is really, that's the hardest part with fitting the boilers. If they're broken down, you can't prove that the system was working before. It's just hearsay. That is the hardest part for boiler installations, and it does happen, sadly. But we try and manage it the best we can, and we have like processes in place to deal with that. And that's just all a part, obviously, the experience, what comes our way from our experienced installers and my experience to manage them situations, because it can be difficult. We had one not too long ago where we did the whole system, which converted it to a combi, and this radiator wouldn't work. It wouldn't work, and it turned out that it never worked. And when we took the radiator off, it didn't even circulate through the radiator properly, so it never worked. But the customer had told us that radiator worked, and it was our problem.
Okay, yeah.
So
how did that go in the end? Did you end up just having to do it and cut your losses with it, or did you manage to make them see sense in the end?
We had to prove it to them that it never worked. Yeah.
This is the thing, because sometimes you got two types of situation, two types of possibilities, isn't it? Either they're lying through their teeth, and it's like you could be going down that route, but then there's also the side of things that people just genuinely just think that this whole system works, and they've just never noticed, and then they genuinely think that they're telling the truth when they.
And we'll always get a solution. We'll always find a solution, because that's what you're there for. Because if you say, oh sorry, you're stuck with it, you're not doing a service, are you? So you've got to find a way, and it's frustrating as it is. You'll find a way, and you look after the customer, because at the end of the day, you want a positive and happy customer at the end. So but it works same as like, this is where our industries cross into the electrics, etc. If we're doing the boiler and the existing electrics aren't up to grade for the new boiler, and like for instance, if we put an RCD on the system onto the fuse spare, which some boiler manufacturers have in their terms of condition, in their boiler instructions, manufacturer instructions, then sometimes all of a sudden you might need to get electrical works done, which have not been quoted for, so it's unforeseen. So it's really difficult, and it can get a really sticky period. But I think what we try and do to the best of our ability is let the customers know as much as possible that these things potentially will, and they'll be in our terms and conditions, so you can look through that, and so they know that there's potential chance. What I've always done when I survey, I always tell, it's probably not always the best thing to do, but it's what works for me. I like to tell the customer the worst case scenario, so then it's just good news throughout the day. We didn't have to do.
That's a good thing to do.
We didn't have to do that in the end. We didn't have to do this in the end, and it's all good news, rather than say, I'm really sorry, but we've got to do this. So I think that works a better way around, and I've just got that through experience.
That's a very good idea, because the thing is, then they're expecting the worst, and if it's not the worst case scenario, then
prepared for it. Then the head's prepared for it.
They're happy, because if it hasn't been the worst case scenario, it actually turns out to be the best case scenario. They're like, but it could have gone like this, but it didn't. So they're like super happy now. Everybody
prefers good experience than negative. For me, I know obviously if I was say going to get my drive done, and somebody come in and did my drive, and then they told me everything was going to happen, and then halfway through the day they says, we didn't expect it to be like that. We've dug some up, and we've got to now do this. Going to cost you X amount of pounds. Gets you back up. That's it, because you've got your mindset that this is what's going to happen. It's going to be done in this amount of time. So I always like to be quite open and honest up front, and just say, look, this potentially could happen. You're prepared for this just in case. And
that's where that experience comes in.
It is, because that in the end always works out best for the customer, is what we're there for. They want our services, we want to give them a good service.
Definitely. And that experience is important, isn't it? Because it's like it's quite harsh in a way, because if you want to run a trade business, everyone has to start somewhere. So there are always going to be situations that you're put in where there's going to be unforeseens. But then as the time goes by, you have all those layers of experience, and then you then learn to make sure that you're letting people know the worst case scenarios, and you can only do that by having been in those situations in the past to be able to then help people going into the future. So it's kind of and this is the thing, that kind of experience is really where people don't understand, but that's what makes the difference between a good installer and not bad installer, but
value.
A new installer.
It's value for money. That's where you get your value for money, because you know
you're paying for that.
It's not
the customer's paying for that.
You're paying for that experience, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're paying for that experience. You know, you're getting better value for money, because if you have someone who's less experienced, they might tell you, "Oh, it's going to be dead easy, no problem, don't worry about that." You're more than likely going to have to pay for the job, and then you're going to have to pay to have it fixed, or you know, something rearranged, something's going to get added on.
I've had some jobs before where fault finding, in particular.
Yes.
Finding that they're making great YouTube videos as well. People love fault finds. But in fact, we've just done one recently where a bunch of electricians couldn't find one after another. They could not find this lighting fault, and then because all they're doing is they're coming in and they're seeing that they can reset the RCD. The RCD's gone on, the lights are working, and they just sort of going, oh, everything seems to be working, but they're not stripping down the circuit, doing it properly, and so they've ended up charging a call-out fee just to turn a breaker on, basically. And this company had so much of that happening, they ended up calling us up. Probably expected us to be just the same, but we went in there, stripped the circuit down, and found out exactly. I found out there was more than one problem. You know, these outside lights, they were filling up with water.
All right.
And connection boxes that were actually filling up water as well, that were under like patio slabs. So we ended up breaking all the circuit down. It took an entire day to do it. Because there was like 30 lights on this circuit, and I had to break it all the way down
to see which one it were.
To find which areas they were, and then I was homing in, and all that takes time. And it's like, but however, they'd already paid for like 5 other electricians to come in when they could have just paid us once to come in.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between somebody that's just going in, and it doesn't even necessarily come down to, I suppose it does come down to experience, but these other sparkies that were coming in, it's either they're inexperienced or they're just lazy.
Yeah.
One or the other.
So if I were a customer now, and I'm wanting an electrician, got a fault like that, what should I be looking for then from an electrician? Obviously, because you just put this into like general conversation. You know, when you just have it over the phone, or when they first turn up to survey the job, you can just, you know, you can very much straight away have a conversation. Straight away, I know you've been doing the job for 20 years. Instantly, like, oh, he's got experience.
Yeah.
So like qualification wise, and obviously, so what qualifications should a customer be looking for to ask to make sure they're getting a competent installer? I
think straight away, like we're NIC registered, NIC EIC registered. So first thing you want to do is go onto the NIC EIC's website and check our enrollment number. So our enrollment number is 602731. So the first thing that you should do is, you don't have to know that number. You can just type in Rygol Electrical into their search engine. It will bring us up as a company, and it will show that our status is currently active. So that's really important, because you can get some companies that claim to be NIC and they're not even NIC, or they were NIC but they've let their registration lapse and they're no longer NIC. So there's alarm bells when that kind of thing happens. We actually had a care home that we were doing some work for. Well, we weren't doing some work for until this happened, but basically they called us up because they said, please help us. We're a care home in Bristol, and the Bristol City Council are going to shut us down in like literally a week's time, because we had an electrical company come in. They did a EICR, which is Electrical Installation Condition Report, which basically is a full test of the property to say that everything's okay or not okay in some instances. They've done a report. They've said it's satisfactory. They've handed it in to the Bristol City Council, and they've then checked out their status with the NIC, found out that their status had lapsed, so they were no longer NIC, and so it meant that the piece of paper that all this information was written on was worthless. So they're now panicking because they've got all these residents in there, elderly people, and they're potentially going to have to shut the business down, shut their doors, and do whatever to get all these people out of the building to go to other care homes. Are right nightmares you could imagine. They said, we really need this sorted out. So we came in and we did another EICR report, because you can't just go off the back of somebody else's. You've got to be doing it for yourself as a business. We found loads of problems. We ended up having to like genuinely rewire parts of the building. Like the kitchen was very unsafe. It was like very close to sort of cables melting down where they'd be overloaded and things like that. We had to rewire the kitchen. The lighting had no earths, but yet they had metal light fittings and switches everywhere. There was no earth on anything. Super dangerous stuff. Yeah, it is, for a care home. So not only did they have to pay for the EICR, but they also had to pay for all the work they had to have done. And we had to do it in a super tight time frame. We had to cancel all of our work around that time to hop in on that. And that's something which is difficult, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, luckily we got understanding customers, and the way that we're set up. We're set up in a way that we got admin staff that can deal with all of that, so that we as installers can concentrate on installing while the admin are dealing with the situations of reorganising everything. So yeah, going back to it, NIC registration, check that. That's really important to make sure they are who they say they are. Go to company's house, make sure there's nothing underlying there. See how long they've been trading for, and ask them as well how long you've been trading, and see if it lines up with what they're saying.
Yeah.
To see if they're sort of telling fibs or anything like that. And then once you've gone through those bits, obviously ask them what qualifications they've got. I do appreciate this is a lot of stuff to sort of go through, but those first two things you can do without even having to speak to them.
Yeah.
And then once they're there, or even over the phone when you're organising it, you can just say, ask them their qualifications and things like that. And then yeah, when they turn up, particularly in a fault situation, one of my pet hates is when electricians go in and they just turn the circuit on to see what comes on, or to see if it trips.
Right.
That is a big no-no to me, because what potentially can happen is if there's a fault on the system and it's tripped out for a reason. So you don't just go resetting it.
The fault's still there.
Yeah, the fault's still there. Yeah. If you turn that breaker back on, you could potentially liven up that fault. And if it's like a dead short, then potentially it's going to go bang and it's going to trip out again. But then if you reset that breaker again, it might not trip out this time, because the fault might have blown itself clear. So it's blown itself clear, but now you've got a new problem. You might have blown the earth path apart, but maybe the live and neutral are still connected. So the circuit will still work, and you'll notice no issues.
Right.
However, you've now destroyed the earth path, and you've now potentially made part of that circuit unsafe because it's got no earth on there. And this is the thing, Joe Public doesn't know that, so naturally they're going to reset the breaker a couple of times, which naturally that's what you're going to do. But when your electrician turns up, he should not be doing that same thing, because that's what anybody can do.
Yeah.
So it's not for us to do. We go in there like, right, okay, here's the situation as it is. You do a bit of electrician should do a bit of a fact find out the history of how this has been tripping out. Has it been happening intermittently? Has it just happened all of a sudden? When did it happen? Did it take out any other circuits at the same time? Did you hear anything go off? Was there a beep sound or anything like that? As they might have re-energized the circuit. You can say to them, like, if they're not sure what it is, you can say, like, did you hear any sounds or anything like that around the house? Yeah. So to give you a bit of an idea what it might be livening up. But yeah, the electrician should be asking all those questions, do their fact find, and then they should be testing the circuit. They should disconnect it from the consumer unit, do some tests, like their dead tests, figure out what's going on, and then work their way around the circuit if they know exactly what it is. But yeah, what you certainly don't do is turn that circuit on, because like I said, you could end up causing more harm than good doing it.
So rely on a competent installer rather than, like, say, your cousin's best mate's Facebook post.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So just make sure you're covering your back, getting things done. It's same with gas safe as well. You can go onto the gas safe register and make sure anybody who's coming into your property working on your gas is competent, and any company, they'll have all their IDs who's actually can work for them on that register. Yeah. So yeah, you need to be looking for these things.
It's quite funny actually, because as a nation, we do very little. We're so trusting. Like, we're very trusting. And I'm exactly the same. I let people into my house and they've come on recommendation. But when you think about it, it's kind of crazy, because if something happens in your property and it's because of what somebody's done that's in your property, like, for example, imagine they go for a pipe, they flood everything, or God forbid it, but there's a gas leak and ends up blowing the back end of your house out or something like that. If they haven't got public liability, then where does that put the whole situation? I don't know if your home insurance will cover that, or it was like we let people into our homes, but we don't ask them for their public liability policy number so that we can do our checks. But in actual fact, it's really important. If I will always make sure that I'm covered in the home. But some people, are doing work on the side and stuff like that. They don't have any public liability, but yet they could electrocute somebody, they could blow somebody's house up, they could cause a fire, all these things. And it's like, it's all well and good saying, if there was ever a problem, I would just sort it. If I flooded someone's house, I would pay for their carpets and everything. But let's say you did 100 grand's worth of damage to someone's property. Where are you going to get that 100 grand? You're not. No. So it's kind of, we need to be more cautious about who we're letting in.
Yeah, definitely. And it's all right, actually, just getting your getting your mate in to do it, or what. You know, it happens a lot in this country, don't it? But you've got to have things done properly, especially electrics. You know, like a lot of people are scared of gas, but I've always, as a gas engineer, I was never quite saw the logic. Like, you know, gas, you smell it, you just turn it off.
Yeah.
Like with electric, you can't see or anything. It could be dangerous. You know, and very, like, for me, it's 10 times more dangerous than gas. But, you know, when you look at it, what can potentially happen, and why would you take the risk? Like, I think someone once said to me, if you won't trust them to fix the brakes on your car, then don't trust them to do your electrics or your gas.
Yeah.
You get it, yeah. So, you know, because you're not just putting yourself at risk. You're like, go getting a cheap job or whatever. It's, you know, you're putting you and your family at risk. So
it's true, isn't it? Like I think it's important that, you know, if you're having somebody in, you can generally tell if they're conscientious and thorough or not, and that's that difference. That is that difference with that guy turning on that breaker. Yeah. Or
I'll just try that. Yeah, just try turning it on instead of doing his actual tests up to that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit like if you go to the doctor, isn't it? Like I've been to the doctors in the past, and you know, gone in there for various things, and I have had doctors where they just say, okay, yeah, they do a little tap up on Google to have a look at this and that. Straight away, I'm thinking, why are you on Google? You're a doctor.
Yeah, you should know.
Yeah, but I do appreciate that. Like, you know, that's the way things are now. But yeah, it's when they sort of give me advice where maybe you should just cut down on some dairy. You know, cut down on some dairy, and if it continues, then maybe come back. And I'm thinking, I've taken some serious time out of work to be here. Like, I'm really busy. I really want to.
You've read off a script.
Yeah, I really. Seeing I'm here, I want just them to be thorough. Yeah. You know, like focusing on one thing. You know, if I got one particular issue that I'm talking about, focusing on that. But I want them to be thorough. So when they just tell me, they just listen to me and say, yeah, maybe just lay off the dairy or something like that. See how your system works. Then it's kind of like, no, I want that doctor that's going to say, all right, let's do your bloods, let's check this, let's check that. That's it, yeah. You know, and maybe we'll get you in for that scan. Which
when you get to 40, you get the free test, don't you? Health check.
Yeah.
When I went in, I did about 41. So I was a bit late getting there, doing it about 41 and a half.
Just had mine done.
It took me about 18 months to get in there. And she did everything. She said, oh, yeah, everything's really good. You've got 1% chance for an heart attack, all that, a lot of great news. And then she went, oh, you can cut down your cholesterol slightly high. You can cut down on your meat. I went, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. I didn't tell her at the time that I'm not had meat for about 3 months because I was trying to support the wife on a vegetarian journey. So, so I'd not been eating meat, and she was like, oh, you need to cut down your meat. I was like, I can't cut down anymore because I've not been eating any. But I just didn't want to argue, and I just thought straight away, you just probably just told me something off a script rather than actually being thorough and doing the proper tests on me.
Exactly, yeah. And it's like that in the trade, isn't it?
It's exactly the same as trade. You can apply it to anything, can't you? So just because you can get a job done cheap, it don't mean it's going to be done right, and you might potentially aim to pay twice, or you know.
Exactly, yeah. I got a friend of mine that's a plasterer, and he, I met up with him for a beer the other day, and we were talking about how he priced a job, and his price was about quadruple the price of the other plasterers. She'd had 3 quotes, and his was like quadruple the cost. But the reason being is that the other 2 plasterers had quoted to come in and just skim over these great big ceilings on this sort of old Victorian house. Huge, great big ceilings with all old lath and plaster on them. And he went in and he quoted it, and it like their quotes were like 2.5, 3 grand, and his quote came in at over 10 grand. And she was shocked. She couldn't believe it. And the reason why his price was so much more is not because he's just trying to charge the customer so much more money, you know, and try and make them see the value in it. It was because that he went in, and when he looked at it and he said, look, these ceilings have got to come down. He like tapped around on the ceiling, did some sampling and things like that. And he said, these ceilings, if you try to put a skim over the top of it, you're adding wet water and and this material on top of it. And he said it's going to take all the moisture out of. It's basically going to soak up into the lath and plaster. He said it's just going to make it so heavy, and it's all just going to get flaky. And he said the whole lot is just going to come down. And that's the difference between somebody that is conscientious, thorough, experienced, and doing their job properly, and it's not just there because these other plasterers can come in, skim around, and these ceilings might stay good for 6 months, but at some point, you know, especially with people walking around on the floors up above and there's a bit of vibration and things like that, eventually they're going to come down, and they were huge, great big rooms. Yeah. So And that's the difference.
So he's the value for money in my eyes.
Yeah. So he priced to rip the ceilings down, reboard over them, fireboard them, skim them, knowing that those ceilings are now good for the rest of that customer's life. Whereas these other tradesperson people were just in and out, get their money, but there was going to be hell coming.
Hell to pay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is a big difference. Yeah.
Cool. So right. So on to next then. We're going to say energy solutions and how basically heating, solar, and aircon can like basically combined to make your home more efficient. So we've both recently took the journey into solar.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because obviously we're very heavy on the primarily the solar side of things.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys are kind of like in on the solar and the heating side of it.
Yeah, and aircon. Yeah, so we do all the lot. Yeah, and they can just work. You just think, I'll just have one or the other, but they can work really well together. Like the solar is basically a power station on your roof. So don't
it really is.
Yeah, don't just have a roof what's going to keep the rain out. Have something what's going to, basically supply you with energy as well. So
it makes so much sense.
It does
so much. Understandably, certain roofs aren't the right angle or the right shape. There's just not enough there. But if you can get any solar panels on, it's always going to help.
Oh, definitely.
And the more, the better.
And the air cons run at they use so little electricity. You can use them for the heating and the cooling, and the solar panels can basically run them. So as long as you've got daylight, they're running for free.
Yeah.
So it's all just adds down it to cutting costs.
There's no better feeling than when you're looking at the customer's app, and then just thinking to yourself, right, this place is either being heated or being cooled, and yet the sun is shining or not even shining that much, and it's all just working straight off the solar system.
Yeah,
it's a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. And like same again, they just you don't just need sunlight; it's just daylight now. They're that good, aren't they? The panels that they don't need. You don't have to be blazing sun, which we don't get loads of in this country, do we?
No.
But it's just
and they
daylight.
don't have to be south-facing anymore.
Yeah, so they're just a lot better than they used to be. So there's a lot of myths and stuff like that are like squashed now. It's all just as long as you've got daylight, which we have every day, then you're good. You're good to go, aren't you?
Yeah, I love it when I see the odd comment pop up on my socials saying solar panels are rubbish, they're a rip-off, they don't work. It's like, they do work.
They just need educating on how they do work. Yeah,
exactly, yeah. And I love it because I get to read the data for all the installations we do. Cheers. And I read that data, and the data is very clear. Like, these systems are producing insane amounts of power, more power than what the customers are using.
So that's where the storage and batteries come in.
Exactly. Storage and the storage into the batteries, and obviously what you're sending back to the grid as well, and what you're getting paid for. It's immense.
It's a real saving as well, because we all know that energy prices are not going to go down.
Yeah.
They're going to just keep going up gradually. I know we get a bit of relief in the summer sometimes, don't we? But they will just generally over the years just keep going up. I think they said on average is 7%.
Yeah.
So I've got an energy franchise where basically we can supply people with energy, like electric and gas. And since I started that five years ago, there's an incline. It's basically going up every year. It's like an average of about 7%. Even though COVID it just went a bit crazy, but the average is about 7% a year. So that's an awful lot of money. It's like you're looking at about 20-25 grand to run your property in 25 years time.
Oh yeah, when you look at it that way.
Yeah. So if you have put a solar system on your roof, it's really cost effective and done properly, done correctly by competent installers like ourselves. You're basically saving that money on the energy. So it's not a cost. It's an investment.
It is an investment, massively. Yeah, it's a great investment, and is so much so. And I know it works because I'm reading the data. But like, I put a solar system on my mum and dad's roof a couple of years ago, and they absolutely love it.
Love it.
Because they're fairly low electricity users. They're doing about 4,000 kilowatt hours a year, but the system is I think it's doing about 9-10 kilowatt hours a year. So it's like way more power than what they need, but they're absolutely loving it because they're finding now that not only are they not having an electricity bill at all, they're actually getting credits of £1,500 per year from the electricity company, and that credit then pays for their gas bill.
Perfect.
So it's like it's winning all round. Obviously, it's not as economical as we'd like. You know, it'd be great that they can move over to aircon, but it's something that we're sort of looking into at the minute. But it's just space, and they got a lot going on right now. So it's one of these ones where like they're basically going through their whole house and like renovating it. So I'm like, I'm not going to push on air source at this point.
The aircon's like really popular, isn't it? Especially with the summer we've just had. But it's the same again. If you can run it, if you've already got solar, it's an absolute no-brainer.
100%. Yeah. Solar, I'd recommend it to anybody. It's like, it's not going to do any bad to your property. It's only going to make things better as long as it's been done by a competent installer. And what's really important is getting the right advice. I'm noticing, I don't know how you're finding it, but I'm noticing there's an awful lot of companies out there where they send their salesperson in, and this salesperson in, that 12 seems to be the magic number. We'll fit you 12 panels and 5 kilowatts of battery and stuff like that. And it sounds great. They're doing it for so cheap and everything. It's like, great. But in actual fact, when you strip down these quotes, they're not as great as they seem, because we've actually got one we're doing this later this week. The customer was quoted for 12 panels and a 5 kilowatt hour battery, something like $8,000 or something like that. And like, oh, nice and cheap, great, okay. But in actual fact, their roof was big enough to put like 24 panels on.
Okay.
So twice the amount. And they were really fixed on the idea of going for the 12 panels. But what they didn't like is that they felt like they'd been really sold to. Like there's a lot of heavy sales techniques going on. Push. And it pushed them into the corner. They ended up agreeing to it. And then they weren't happy with the situation. So they contacted us. And I could see the guy was very skeptical when I arrived. He was very on the back foot, and I understand why.
Bad experience. The last.
Exactly. Yeah. So I went in there and I looked at it and measured up, did all the calcs on it. I said, I got to be honest. I said, you don't want 12 panels. I said, you want 24 panels. And I said, you don't want 5 kilowatts of battery storage. You want 16.
Yeah.
And I sort of showed him why. And here's the thing. Just because you've got 12 panels on your roof that are doing sort of 5 kilowatt of power, then it doesn't mean you're going to be doing 5 kilowatts of power every hour of the day, because great, we're having great sunshine now, but on many days in the UK, we don't get that. We just get those daylight hours where it's very just grey skies and things. We might be doing, or it might be early in the morning and things like that. It's going to be doing considerably less. Still generating, but just considerably less. So it's like the more panels you get up there, the more catchment you've got of that light. Make the most of it. You've got that roof there. That roof is a money maker. So get those panels on as many as you can. Because people sort of got this ideology that they really need as many panels as what they, and they only need those panels to make as much in a year as what they would use in a year. Yeah. But in actual fact, it's like no, because it doesn't work like that. Because there are times where the panels will be underperforming compared to what their usage is. If they don't have enough. So get as many as you can up there so it will match your usage and be able to charge a battery at the same time, and even be able to sell back to the grid and make money for what you're sending back to the grid as well.
Yeah, let's make the most of it while you're doing it.
Make the most of it, because there's many ways. It's more than one way to utilize the panels. And so once I'd had this chat with the customer, the system was probably about another 60% more than what it was originally. But it's worth it all day long. When I actually looked at the payback period, the payback on it was like 6.5, 7 years or something like that. And the payback on it was super quick. It was quicker than it was for the 12 panels because it was less catchment. And it just meant that they were going to be sending so much more back to the grid and just making good use of it in every way. And the system was better as well. Yeah. The fact of having more batteries means that they can put more into their batteries. Like a 5 kilowatt hour battery is fine if that's somebody's budget, but if they can have more batteries, and there is a limit to how much battery you should have, but I know from the installs that we've been doing that by just going for the 5 kilowatt hour battery, it's not really going to be enough for most people. So I can generally tell by looking at their annual usage, like, okay, you should start here or here. You can always add to these systems, but yeah, that's the difference between how we sell as a business compared to how a lot of these other companies are doing it. They're doing it just for the cheapest sell so that they can make that sell, because that salesperson is getting that commission on to the next. They're selling what's best for their company and selling these cheaper products that don't do as much as what they could do, systems that aren't as good in size or capabilities as what they could be. So they're getting those installs compared to people like us that are saying like, no, you should have this. It is more.
Yeah.
You know, we're putting ourselves out there to set ourselves up essentially for a fall, because we're sort of like selling these systems at more. But when you show them the actual value, it makes sense to do that. And like, we are actually the ones that are, you know, it sounds like I'm upselling, and it kind of is, but I'm doing it for good reason, because I'm like, genuinely, if this was my property, this is what I would have. And
that's how you got to do it. Like, I'd be the same. You know, if I was selling the solar like I do a boiler, and you do sometimes, you'll get a customer saying, "What would you do?" And like, you give an honest opinion. Like, yeah, this is what I'd be doing. I'd be adding this many panels, you know, or this size boiler, you know, this size aircon system, this many rooms, you know, because like, you want what's best for your customers, so you got to give them that advice. It's like, that's where people get lost in the price, and they just want the cheap, and it's cheap's not always best, is it? No. So cheap, you know, I don't want to be the cheapest. I don't know about you. I don't want to be the cheapest at all. I want to be the best value, you know. Exactly. Give that customer the value, what they deserve, and it's an investment. You don't want cheap, do you? Same with anything. What is it? If you bought a cheap pair of shoes, you know they're probably going to fall. The heel for a lady, the heel's going to fall off on the first night out. But then if you buy an expensive pair, they're going to last you for years. So same applies with, you know, when you're putting especially if you're putting it onto your own home. Yeah. You know, why would you want to put something cheap into your home? Exactly. Yeah, and I genuinely think that's the difference between these solar companies that just do solar, and then the ones that are actually you know, installation companies. You know, it's like us, for example. We do electrical, but we also do, so we're very heavily service based. We look after you, you know, whether it's an install or whether it's a maintenance or whatever, we're there. So we do the same with our solar installs. So I imagine you're the same kind of makeup as that as well. And whereas a lot of these solar companies, they're just solely solar companies, so they're going around banging in all these installs. But here's the thing, like I'm saying, this job we're doing this week, the customer was told he couldn't have more than 12 panels. Right. He said like they couldn't fit more than 12 panels because the DNO, which is the distribution network operator, basically, so for our part of the region, it's the national grid, basically said that the national grid wouldn't allow more than 12 panels to be on the roof. And I said, you've been lied to there, because that's not the case. I said, like, we put 30 panels on people's roofs. And the reason you're being lied to is because that basically this company that's selling you the system, they've capped you off at 12 panels because that's their business model. And it makes it easy for them to sell these systems because they can go in there with their set price strategy. And also, when you have more than 12 panels, you have to go to a bigger size inverter. The inverter is the part that converts the electricity so it's usable from the solar panels, so it can be used into the home. It converts it, so it makes it usable. That piece of equipment, when it goes over 3.7 kilowatt, you then go into a different type of documentation needed for the DNO. When you get to that point, that's when the paperwork becomes more intensive, and it's more. There's more parts to it, more moving parts to it. So these companies don't want to get involved with that. So they end up going, right, okay, we'll just do the 12 panel system because it means less paperwork for us. We can get them out the door, you know, get them installed, done, get the money quick. But in actual fact, in reality, these salespeople that are selling these systems and doing it to their textbook approach, you know, like off the shelf type thing, the problem is that these salespeople would have come and gone. Probably the company would probably liquidated in a couple of years' time. We've all seen it before. Yeah, the salesperson's off now selling pharmaceuticals and, you know, doing something completely different or whatever, and you're left with this system which is now substandard, and that's your investment for the rest of your time in that property. Have you choose to stay there? So it's kind of like, and that's the difference between when you're being sold to and when you've got a company coming in being conscientious and saying like, we're going to maximize your investment here and do the best we can for you. We're certainly not going to be the cheapest for it, but we're going to be the best, and that's where we position ourselves. 100%, and that's where it needs to be. Yeah, that's definitely. Where it needs to be. We need more installers. We need more companies like that, because it's given the industry a bad name, and it's good in some ways because it makes it easier for us to go in and do a good show people we're genuine and genuine business owners and genuine companies and things like that. But it means you do have to change a lot of people's opinions on what solar's about and all the rest of it. Yeah, so it's a tough one. What's the future of what's the future for saving energy and powering our homes and everything, would you say? I think we're pretty much living it. We're at the start of that journey, aren't we, already?
We definitely are.
It's, the future's today. It's there, isn't it?
It is.
Just educating and like there's a lot of, there's the same with anything what's new. There's always going to be negative stories and things like that. People are scared to death of heat pumps.
Yeah.
Aren't they? And there's definitely, for me, horses for courses with the heat pumps. It's not going to be suited for every home. But then if we've got these options available, then it's only going to be better if it's more sustainable moving forward.
100%, yeah. I think what isn't for the masses right now is going to continue and progress till it gets to that point. Like everything has to have a start, doesn't it? It's like when mobile phones came out, it wasn't like everybody instantly had a mobile phone and it was like a switch over. Like suddenly everyone's had a mobile phone. It was like as a slow progression. You just have the ones back in the 90s where they were massive. Only the business owners had them. And then as time went by, they got smaller, they got better, and then they became more affordable. And so more and more people generally started having them, and it got to a point where now we all have them. So I think that with the technology, the way it's progressing, I think it's going to do the same. And they'll find ways to put heat pumps into the smallest of places. They'll revolutionise the solar game as well. It's only going to get better. And I think that now is a very good time because we're getting the mixture of like renewable energy mixed in with AI. It's like a really... It's an amazing sort of groundbreaking time right now.
Yeah.
Like solar system just isn't a standard conventional performing solar system anymore. It's now integrated with AI, and it's now basically got its own solar assistant built into it to start making like these SIG energy systems we're fitting now. They're unbelievable. They know the weather that's coming. They see your living patterns, so they adapt. Put more power in the right place at the right time because it knows that every morning you're at the door at 6 a.m. or it knows that toaster goes on at 5:35 or whatever it might be. It generally gets an idea of how you're living, and then it makes your solar system work along with it. And it's like that is going to just come in massively now.
Definitely. So like the smart home. Yeah. Basically making his homes more efficient.
Yeah, and I like the fact with the AI as well is that because it's like self-learning. And because all these systems are connected to Wi-Fi, then they kind of learn themselves, feed back all the data to the companies, and then they can use that data and improve their systems. Yeah. So like the system kind of grows.
Just gets better.
It just gets better over time.
Definitely.
So it's a very exciting time right now, and I think now is a very good time to, if anyone is. It sounds like a massive sales pitch now, guys. It's really not. It's just because we're passionate about what we're doing because we see the results for it. But now's a very good time to be getting into this. Yeah. If someone's interested in solar and things like that, because I get some customers say to me, well, I'm thinking about going for it now. I've been waiting, and I might wait some more. And I sort of say to them, well, one thing you got to remember is that the longer you wait to invest in solar, the more money you're losing. So you might be thinking you're waiting for the cost of the pounds to come down or this and that to come down, but in actual fact, the money you're losing is counteracting the money that you think you're saving going into the future. So just 100%. Get on with it now. It's never been as good as it's been. Yeah.
So that unreliable boiler or whatever, it's costing you more. It's burning money, isn't it? It's burning money every day instead of saving your money.
Definitely. So, are you finding that you're doing like the heating side of it and the solar side of it at the same time in your company, or is it?
We are, So our website, you can now get a free quote for a boiler or solar. You can get an idea of what it's going to cost for you. What your property, how many panels and stuff it needs, and then obviously that's when the surveyor will get in touch. The surveyors will come in and do a more technical, We'll see that you're interested, and then we'll do the more technical side of things to make sure you're getting what's right for the customer.
Brilliant, yeah.
So rather than it just being like, your 12 panels for that amount of money, you'll get an idea of how much it costs, and then you'll get the technical side to make sure it's right for what you want and it's right for your property.
Yeah, good, yeah.
So
we're very, from talking, you can tell that we're very set up. Similarly in terms of what we're doing.
100%, we're both doing it the right way, and that's another reason why I wanted to get you on, because I know you do things the right way, and it reflects what we do. So that's the sort of companies what we want to be like relating with and working with, because it's not a battle. We're not fighting each other. We want to like work together to make the industry better.
100%.
And that's that's what we want to do. So
It's so important, yeah, because there's a lot of bad. There's a lot of good press out there too, but there is the bad press going around with it. You know, it's funny. There's people will see one commercial roof fire or something like that, and like, look at solar. Solar's terrible. This and that. It's like, yeah, but come on, look at how many installations there actually are. You know, and that's probably not a product failure. It's just down to an installation failure. Yeah, by actually somebody not doing their checks properly and things like that. You know, so it's kind of. Yeah, there's obviously with anything like that, there's going to be some issues. If you do anything like that on a big enough scale, there's going to be some problems. But you know, get the right company, and you get a company that's conscientious and they're using the right products, then you're all good.
So, what is your current view on the energy crisis at the minute? What obviously we're the older generations are struggling to pay their energy bills and they're rising. What would be your views on all this and how we're tackling it? And would you say the government's doing enough? Are we doing enough as installers?
Yeah, because didn't they take away like the for the elderly people their heating allowance and things like that?
We did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think that's a bad move. I don't like it personally. I mean, I haven't really looked into that too much, but from just hearing about it, point of view,
it makes you it's like a call to action that we can help, can't we? That's how I look at it. You know, we've got the tools to be able to educate and help. That's why we do these things like the podcasts, and obviously a YouTube channel to educate everybody on how to save money. We feel the pinch is the same as everybody else with the bills going up and things like that. So, like we spoke about earlier, we're family men, aren't we? So we want, the cost of like general day-to-day living, it's us as well as it does everybody else. So we want to help, if we can help contribute to the solution to that rather than add to it, with these good investments. That's why we do it for. I want to, if we put people in the right direction of what to expect and what to do, and save all the bad experiences. I think it's a good thing. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I think that's important thing to highlight as well. Is that I said about getting as many panels up there and having this battery and that, but obviously that does come with at a cost.
Yeah,
and it's not a cost that everybody can do. Yeah, to put it simply, is not, and that's understandable. Everybody doesn't have that kind of like disposable cash there, but I mean, if you can get like a sort of pricing plan in place, like we offer finance from our side of things. There is interest on it. We can't get around that. We it's not us offering it directly, but it is certainly one of the solutions that we can offer. We generally say that if you can afford to sort of outlay all in one, then it's better to do that because there's no interest costs and things. But ultimately, we can go down the finance route, and when you actually look at what the cost of the finance is monthly compared to what you're saving, it kind of balances out anyway.
Yeah, so that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The amount it pays for itself. No, that interest is paid for. If you didn't have it done, you'd have paid
exactly
the extra money with the current network you've got on your property.
Yeah, and you don't have to go into winter worrying about what the electricity company's going to do now.
Yeah,
that's normally the case, isn't
it? Dreading October and January when they like put the prices, aren't they? It's normally like January, April, July, October, and you're all like, oh god, it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming
it's
to
on the way.
What's it going up to? So, right. So I hope you've enjoyed everything we've discussed today. We're just going to go over, which we do with all our guests, a couple of quick fire questions. So. We've had some good answers out of this one. What was your first car?
Oh, Vauxhall Nova.
Vauxhall Nova, see, it's always a Vauxhall or a Ford.
Vauxhall Nova 1.2 back in the day.
Oh, great car, yeah.
Yeah, my bass box in the back.
Yeah,
I couldn't afford, I was an apprentice at the time, I couldn't afford to have all the mods done to it. I used to be envious of all the guys that I used to see driving around.
All the bits and bobs in it.
Drop down low and they'd had it all sprayed and, loads of filler put in the... in places to give it the wide arches and that. I used to love all that, but never went to that extreme. But I always loved my music, so I always made sure I had a good sound system in there.
The little CD player where you push in, get that off,
I even went down the route of having a mini disc player in there at one point.
Oh wow, that was the new age, wasn't it?
6 months.
Yeah, the little flash in the pan that they had, didn't they? What stopped all that? because they just came in and then just completely. Would it have been the iPod or something like that? What stopped all that, or
came
anything?
In closely after, didn't it?
Yeah, and then obviously like Spotify just completely destroyed everything, didn't it, regarding the music business?
I think it was one of those where it wasn't a big enough jump from CDs to mini discs. It wasn't groundbreaking enough to make everybody want to go down that route.
Exactly, yeah.
But it was just quite nice to have at the time. Yeah, I've still got mine kicking around somewhere.
Cassette CDs were massive because there was no longer the pencil in the tape trying to wind it back up when your stereo would like ate all the tape.
A massive string of brown tape coming out of it.
Yeah, you spend about an hour with your pencil trying to roll it all back in when you hoping that it were going to work.
Yeah, without creasing over on itself.
Your best tape. So yeah, definitely showing his age again there, aren't we?
Yes.
So that's the Vauxhall Nova. Just people already know. I had a Fiesta.
Nice. Yeah. I had one at one point. Yeah.
Yeah. D-Reg Fiesta. It wasn't even 1 litre. So push it up an hill. Yeah. But
back in the days when you could get insurance. What was your insurance like? About £1,000, something like that.
Can't remember.
Which still in my mind sounds like a lot. And you hear people now they're saying, £6,000.
Yeah.
On a little car, and I think, wow.
I can remember my second car being about £1,200. You used to have to go on your mum and dad's insurance, didn't you, to be able to do it. Then also, use the first car, and all your friends. You'll obviously maybe have friends who've got like something real nice or whatever. Yeah. But most people, like me and you, we had either the Vauxhall or you had the Ford.
Yes. Do you know what? I did venture into a Citroen Saxo.
Yes.
1.6 VTR.
That was the next step.
Yeah, little 8-valve. It was. I bought it off a friend. It already had been lowered. It had like the K&M filter. It had the big exhaust on the back, 4-inch exhaust off the back, and blacked out windows.
Yeah.
And it was a wicked car. I used to love driving that because it was low. You used to take it around those roundabouts late at night, and it was
good.
Great.
I can remember a friend had a Vauxhall Nova, right? He got a car garage. Yeah. So he's put this K&M filter on because they're a mechanic as well. He could do all that. He put this K&M filter on, and we drove around it in half a day, just like obviously high revving it as much as he could because that's when it works best. Yeah. And then the next day when we saw him, he said, "Oh, I took it off." I said, "Oh, what did you take it off for?" He said, "Oh, it cost me a load of fuel." So just whipped it off because obviously money was tight and spending too much money on fuel. So we had a day of fun out of this K&N filter, and then just took it off.
Yeah,
but that's how little things were, I guess, weren't it, back then?
They were. Yeah. What was your favourite car then, in terms of?
Oh, I didn't really have favourite. You just look at I just liked just cars in general.
Yeah.
I just want my cars quite regularly when I look back, but I didn't have a favourite where I was like, oh, I'd love that car.
Yeah.
I was always just like, I like that one. I'm gonna have that. I'll save up and I'll spend all my money on that. So I had some nice cars. Yeah, to be fair, I had the Nissan 350Z was a pretty smooth car. But then obviously you start to learn how to use it to its full capacity, and then realise it's a bit dangerous. So
it's a beast, basically.
Yeah, it was a beast. Yeah, so I changed that. I had a Beamer as well, the 535 Beamer.
Yeah.
Which was just like a more stable car. Starting to pretty grow up a bit by that stage. So yeah, some cars. What about yourself?
Yeah, to be honest, the Saxo VTR is as good as it gets for me. Yeah, because I very quickly went into van life after that.
Yeah.
So I had I had a Nova, the Fiesta, then back to another Nova, and then went to the Saxo, and then straight after the Saxo, that's when I bought a house. Actually, that was the change.
That's the change for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Guess what? Leaking roof. Needed a new roof. Had to sell the car to pay for the roof. That was end of car life. Yeah.
Tell you what, you don't see many Saxos now. I can imagine that they're quite a collector's item because everybody like yourselves were young, so they didn't get looked after, did they? They got hammered, didn't they?
Absolutely hammered. Yeah.
So I wonder if there's actually the Saxos out there what are actually in good condition where it's not been used. I can imagine it's worth a fortune.
I always think to myself, I wish I just held on to these cars. If I had somewhere to store them,
yeah.
It'd have been great just to have kept them, put away, stored away, and then, as you get older, when the kids are grown up and you're looking for something to do, maybe you turn it into a project to restore it and make it absolutely beautiful, perfect.
Yeah, there's some good money in the old Ford as well, aren't they now?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cosworths are worth a fortune, aren't they?
Yeah, massively. It's like the Novas now. If you try to look up Novas, they're like 10 grand for a Nova. Yeah. Used to buy. I bought my first car for like 500 quid.
I was going to say, it's hundreds, not thousands, weren't it? So,
yeah.
So I'm guessing I think I already know this, but I wanted to ask it because we ask it everybody else.
Yeah.
because obviously through talking I've figured it out. But what do you do in your spare time when obviously you got your family?
Yeah, got
you
my
like your
family.
cars. So what else do you get up to when?
What am I doing in my spare time? I've got a camper van, so I really enjoy. Yeah, that was a big thing for me, making sure that I had that before I had kids. And my plan with the camper van was basically I bought it as a regular van, and then I slowly converted it. Had the windows cut in, got the pop top in over time, rock and roll bed, seats that reverse, got the hob in there with the sink, drawer system. I put a sound system in it as well. It's really, I love it when I go to a campsite and it's like I put the tunes on. And it's just epic sound. I love that. I basically supply the sound system for the camp.
So you like your music? I like music as well. What music are you into?
I'm into house music, hardcore music, drum and bass, but I essentially like all music. You know, if anything that's I can listen to anything. I can listen to rock music a lot. Anything that's good, basically, I enjoy. I'm not one of these people that sort of cut off. Like, no, these are my genres.
Yeah.
It's like,
I appreciate. I believe like there's moments for music, depending on your mood. I like rock music an awful lot, but that's maybe because I'm very much a like let's go sort of person.
Yeah, there's guitars.
And that bass and the drums and the guitar like really works with my my character. But then I do like a bit smoother music and a bit more chilled out. I like a lot of old music or well before my time.
Yeah, I'm starting to get that. Yeah, it's funny actually. Last week I discovered something about myself because I've just started going to the gym, and so for whatever reason I put my AirPods in, put Spotify on, and a tune came on that I can't remember his name. That Tipsy song, the country and western one.
Okay. That
came on, and then it just rolled on. More country music came on after that. And I've discovered I really enjoy country music.
It's massive in America.
Yeah.
It's biggest music. It seems crazy, don't it? But yeah, it is actually quite nice to listen to, isn't it?
It really is, yeah. Caroline, my wife, plays it all the time, and my mother-in-law, her mum, she plays it all the time. And so I'm always hearing it around the dinner table and stuff like that. So I've always thought, yeah, this is quite nice to listen to. This is quite uplifting stuff. But yeah, I was doing doing a load of chasing on a rewire last week, and I had it on, and I found myself in a really, really good mood.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was like,
I better sing along. Yeah, I better sing along to some of them, can't you? It's good.
Yeah.
So, right. So the bonus question at the end for us is, what was the worst Christmas present you ever received?
Oh, the worst for me. I've been having a little think. I think the worst for me is probably nothing extravagant, but it was a polo top, just a yellow polo top, because yellow is not my colour.
Right.
And well, not colour I care to wear anyway. And polo top when you're, bearing in mind I was a child, so I was I was about 8 years old or something like that. So,
no one likes clothes as a kid, do they?
Yeah.
I keep telling my wife to keep buying the kids clothes. I'm like, come on, the kids, they don't want clothes.
Yeah, bear in mind that that's just for me personally. Nothing against anybody that's young getting clothes like that. If that's what you like, then fine.
That's what you like, yeah.
For me, when I was young, I did not care about the clothes on my. I'm highly grateful for that now. But as a child, I did not care about the clothes on my back. I didn't care if I got them covered in dirt or anything like that. I wasn't worried about presentation. I was just more. I just wanted to have fun and
live for the moment.
Build go-karts and just get scuffed up and all these typical kid things that you do. So for me to get a polo top, polo shirt as a child was like, oh, great
stuff.
Yeah,
could
be a lot worse.
That smile sort of thing you have to do. Oh,
yeah,
happy with that. So, all right, Brill. So, yeah. I don't know if you know the story. I'm going to tell it again. Obviously, these guys have already heard it a few times now. But my mum bought me some driving gloves, leather driving gloves when I was about 17, 18. Yeah. When I just passed my test for Christmas. Luckily, they didn't fit, so I never really had to wear them. But
one of those things.
It's just one of the things. But wanted a stocking filler or something, I think, and she just come across them and thought, "Oh, I'll get them." Like a 17-year-old kid's not going to be wearing no leather driving gloves.
No,
they could probably do with them back in the day in the D-Race Fiesta. It's freezing, but I was not going to wear them.
Practically, they would have worked out really well.
Yeah.
But obviously, when you're 17, there's like a lot of image-conscious things going on.
Yeah, ruin the street cred. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
They always used, if you remember, they used leather gloves. They used to have that like little brown trim around them as well, didn't they? The original ones, if you can remember. So,
that's a definite. You might have put them in the glove box as like a goodwill thing, but well, you never wore them because it didn't fit, luckily. So
luckily they didn't fit. So they just got lost, I think.
It's one of those, isn't it? Like the present could have been worse.
The thought was always there with my mum. So always forever grateful. but yeah, she got that one wrong.
Yeah, but you never forgot it either. That's
no,
the
that's
thing,
it. Yeah, it was, yeah, like I say, 30 years ago. So you still remember.
You still got something out of it.
Yeah. So, if you weren't an electrician, what would you be doing?
Oh, if I wasn't an electrician, what would I be? Well, there's a couple of things. I think I would have probably gone into maybe music production, maybe either music production, or I think there was definitely a rally driver living in me somewhere.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, going on like keeping it into the cars thing. I was genuinely really good at driving cars fast. not obviously that I did that on the UK roads, guys. Obviously not,
Yeah.
but
It's doesn't matter now.
but yeah, I always had massive passion for sort of just like driving cars with haste, with speed. And yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So for me, I think I would have probably pushed on that, whether it would have been something I don't know, or whether it just always ended up being a hobby. But it's something I wish I had gone into, music production as well. But yeah, in terms of, all right, those are quite ambitious things. What would I have chosen had it been more? I don't know. I really don't know that one. It's a really
Electrician
hard one,
all the way.
Yeah, I think
It's either the dreams, and then obviously then the dreams, like when reality changes, as you get to that sort of age, if the dreams haven't happened, then you start like going something more practical.
Yeah.
I guess, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe I might have gone into like videography or photography,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
We
Something
all wanted
with,
to be
like,
rock
design.
stars, footballers, and what is it? Footballers, rock stars, and like I say, rally drivers or like drivers or whatever. They're the astronauts. Well, they're all the the elite things. What we could do with our life.
Yeah, definitely.
But
What about you?
myself, actually, I was literally struggling that much. I knew I weren't going to be a footballer.
Yeah.
But I think it's weird as well. I can't really remember. I think I was just happy living my life when I was really young, and I've always just been, and still am, even though I'm like older now and life's a bit more like changed. I was just going to be happy just being around my friends and laughing and enjoying life.
Yeah, I'm a lot.
And
Like
it was just like I'll just work whatever.
Yeah.
I think it took till I was about. I know we're in IB fair, and my mates have said it to her a few times. So my dad was a heating engineer, and I'd obviously done work with him. But I think just because I knew I could do that at any point, I never took it into reality. And I did a couple of jobs before I went to college, did A-levels, I was a lifeguard. I worked in a fast food restaurant, I worked in a supermarket, did loads of and it weren't really of interest to me. I was more interested. I worked just to fuel the fun I was going to have with my mates, and it was just all about that really. When I look back, I feel like I sort of wasted like 5 years of my career, but I didn't. I had that many good times in that 5 years, memories that last for a lifetime. So
it's all part of your path, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
It
so
was
it just took.
always meant to happen.
It just took me a bit longer to get like serious about my career, I guess,
Yeah.
because I just didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
It
yeah, I
naturally
never.
happens, doesn't it, when
So I
you're young?
never had anything.
I've always been very much kind of like some people have got a plan, haven't they? They've got it
Yeah.
mapped out. They know where they go and they know what
Yeah,
they
fair
want
play
be.
to 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In like 10 years' time, they want to be here and this and this. I've never had that, and I've always sort of thought to myself, even when I give it a lot of thought, I can't anchor down where I want to be in 1, 2, 5, 10 years' time. It's just unpaving. It's just literally paving it one thing at a time in front of me as I'm going, and I'm getting new options as I go. And I just can't have that foreseeing things into the future. So I just live by the fact of just make the most of every day and then plan things for the near future. If you can't see long term what you want to do or be, then just do the best of everything that's coming your way right now, and it will naturally just progress and flourish.
I always crave like routine and calm sort of thing, but then as soon as I get anywhere towards it, I always push the boat out to put myself in me like out of my comfort zone and start something new again.
Yeah.
Like we just got to the boiler company to such a comfortable position where it was great, everything working well, and it's almost like, all right, I'm here now, so what am I going to do to make it a bit uncomfortable for myself again? Oh, let's start doing aircon and let's start doing solar and everything, and progression. Yeah, I don't think I could ever stand still, and like my dad's 69 this year. He needs he's dedicated his life to being a gas installer,
and he's on about retaking the gas this year when it's 70. As a me, yeah. So yeah, he's got no sights of like he was stopping, even though he's in like late night bed, late after stage, just looks at it. Yeah, and I do fear that's what I'll be like. So, obviously, if you want to hand off, just tell us a bit more, obviously, about your show. If you want to let all the viewers where they can find us, your videos.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so if you just type in onto, you can either do it on Google or go straight onto YouTube. Just type in Rygol Electrical Services of Rygol spelled Rygol, and just put electrical on it, and yeah, we'll pop up. Let me have a little look and see. Let's see, have we reached the 10,000s? Have we reached 10,005? Well, since we've been on, we've had another, since when I walked in, I was on 9,997, so we've had an extra 8 subscribers come in. So yes, this is a huge milestone for the channel, and I'm so pleased. Thank you, guys. Okay. So it's nice to be able to sort of share this moment on camera. Yeah, make fun of it, because it's taken a lot of work to get there, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing yours now when you get your cameras.
So we'll come following you on your coattails.
Yes,
so yeah,
absolutely. Follow the way. So yeah, same again. You can find us on all social platforms: TikTok, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're on YouTube as well. If you wanted a free quote, you can go to kjgroup.uk and quote yourself for any boiler or solar. So I'd like to thank you very much, and Liam, for the chat today. It's been a pleasure having you up.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate coming in, because it's first podcast I've ever done, and it's been great listening to you. It's natural finally. Yeah, thanks. It's been nice to finally be on here talking to you again, because we have got a lot going on in common with the way our businesses are. Yeah, and it'd be great to see some stuff going forward. On there, said.
Yeah, definitely will. So thanks again, and please like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next time.
Cheers, guys.